Grow a Garden 2. Players, you deserve better hello, and welcome to my first video on the channel. And what better way to kick it off than one of the biggest piles of slop on the Roblox platform, Grow a Garden 2. If you are somehow unaware of this game with 500,000 concurrent players. How does this have 500,000 concurrent players? That's almost the same amount of players as Counter-Strike 2, Steam's biggest heavy-hitter player count-wise. It's a game identical to the first Grow a Garden, where you buy seeds, plant them, wait for them to grow, which can sometimes take hours per seed, and sell your plants for money. And that's the full game? Yes, this is the full game. By the time you plant your first carrot and sell it, you will have effectively completed the game, as there is little to do otherwise. This game is as wide as an open horizon, yearning to be adventured by the daring, boisterous explorer with lots of unique seeds and pets to claim, but it is as deep as a children's blow-up paddle pool, with very little depth mechanics-wise. Sure, there's lots of seeds to plant, but once they're planted, what can you do with them? You either look at it, which is not very exciting, or you can sell it, which is also underwhelming. The same goes for the pets. There's lots of them to collect, however you can do very little with them. The main thing that's different from Grow a Garden's predecessor is that you can steal plants from other players, which is also undercooked and underdeveloped. In the first Grow a Garden, all you have to do to steal a plant is pay Robux, which was messed up and made a huge difference between what a free-to-play player can achieve versus what someone who pays money can achieve. Now in this game, there's a day and night cycle. Daytime is the same as the first Grow a Garden, but at nighttime, you can steal other players' plants, which is just a shameless ploy to steal players from steal a brain rot. Grow a Garden almost lost the admin abuse event, which, if you are unaware of what I'm talking about, was a competition between Grow a Garden and Steal a Brain Rot. They held events called admin abuse at the same time to see who could get more players. They gave players ultra-rare items for free. In the end, Grow a Garden won with an almost enormous 21 million concurrent players over Steal a Brain Rot's 20 million players. So the Grow a Garden developers said, you know what we can do to compete with Steal a Brain Rot? Let's steal their only real mechanic in Steal a Brain Rot and add stealing to our game. So number one, we can sucker in a few people into buying their fruits back if they get stolen. And number two, compete with our biggest competitor on the platform. I would be happy about this mechanic, because it's a way new players can easily get lots of money from experienced players without having to play the main game, which I'm happy about. But it's just a stolen mechanic from Steal a Brain Rot. I am in no way defending Steal a Brain Rot because it's just as bad as Grow a Garden 2. However, it gets worse when you look at their monetization strategies. If you want to, you can skip the entire progression system of Grow a Garden by just outright buying the most expensive seeds. It does come with a hefty price. As of recording, the most expensive seed, the Dragon's Breath seed, costs 1,599 Robux for one seed of this plant. Are you serious? Guys, if you spent this amount of money in real life, you could have grown a real garden at home, not a crappy digital garden on Roblox. If you want this seed, you have to get lucky and wait for it to be in the shop. However, the chance of this happening is extremely rare. According to Grow a Garden 2's own wiki, it has a 1 in 500 chance of spawning or a 0.2% chance of happening. The odds are heavily against you, and a stock only lasts for 5 minutes. So if it does come in stock, it won't be in stock for long, and there's a high likelihood you will miss it. There are 4 different game passes in the store, all of which give you a massive advantage over free-to-play players. You can buy a magic carpet, which lets you easily reach high fruits in people's trees and allows you to easily traverse the map. There's a freeze ray that allows you to easily catch up to players stealing from you and gives you a huge advantage when stealing others' plants. You can pay for a vine wrapper, which traps a player in vines, letting you easily hit them if they steal your fruit, or traps the owner of other crops, allowing you to steal easily. If you have bad pets, you can just pay to spawn a good pet in the server you're currently in for 660 Robux. There's nothing in Grow a Garden you cannot obtain without the power of money on your side. One last point I would like to raise is that the game skips user-friendliness entirely. For example, you don't know what the gear does until you buy it, which is poor game design, because you just don't know what your gear or pet does until you randomly find it, either in the gear shop stock or you find the pet randomly on the map and buy it, then you know what it does, which makes purchases feel like gambles at times. For example, I was really excited to buy my first pet in the game, which was the frog. When I bought it, I learned that all it does is give the player higher jumps, which have limited use in practice. Everything in Grow a Garden 2 is random and takes away player control. For example, the stock is random, and the heights of the plants when you plant them are random each time. So if you spend lots of money on something like a banana tree and it's shorter than average, it limits the value of the fruits it can grow or the amount of fruit it can grow. Take these tomato plants, for example. I have 3 tomato plants that are longer than average. Because these plants are longer, they can bear more fruit. There's random weather, which can give bonuses to the selling value of your plants. In my time playing, I have only seen one weather event, making my tomatoes gain the Aurora bonus. The rare pets spawn rarely. It seems that Grow a Garden 2 throws randomness in your face in hopes you get sick of it and pay for an item that removes the randomness of the game, which, in a way, is malicious and promotes bad practices. Because if you want to play Grow a Garden 2, you essentially have 2 options. Either you pay to win, which most players can't, since the main demographic of Roblox is not in the labor force and cannot afford these purchases, or you face the RNG gods face first, which is essentially wasting your time since you have no control over random luck. There's also a mechanic that makes your fruits rot if you don't log in frequently, which is a mechanic intended to keep you hooked on the game and forces you to log in. If you want to go on holiday and forget about video games for a while, good luck, because when you come back, all your hard work will have rotted into the dirt. As the famous saying goes, the fruit doesn't fall far from the tree, and that saying also goes for this diseased, sick, rotten tree. A plague on the Roblox platform that needs to be cut down. Thanks for watching, and remember, you deserve better.